Well, and it begs the question, if you can't figure out how rent payments work, why are you leading our country?
$174,000 a year. Those numbers don't add up.
Half our job is consulting people, telling them how to do things legally.
Yep. Woo! Coming from you live at the Campione Law Studios. Chris Campione here, joined by my two friends and partners, Kirby Johnson and Michael Belonge, up from St. Augustine today, battling traffic for about an hour to get here. You can tell the dedication.
Happy to be here. Happy to be here. Never know what to expect when you're about to do the intro, but it's good.
I try to keep it fresh.
Keep us on our toes.
Yeah, so how was your day today, Kirby?
It was a beautiful day. Beautiful day. We just we're rolling out a medical malpractice division here, and that's really exciting.
It's enough to keep you busy. I know we're working on some other fun stuff too, but probably not appropriate for this. But
yep.
Legally grounded, but don't want to give away our secret sauce.
100%.
How about you, Mike? I know you're preparing for a trial next week.
Pretty big day. Obviously you're preparing for trial, but there's other cases too, so you still have to, put some time to those things and other appointments. So it's been pretty hectic, but we're getting ramped up and we're ready. So.
That's exciting stuff. Let's jump right into it. In the hot seat today, literally and figuratively, we've got the Osceola Sheriff Lopez.
Yes.
What do you know about this, Mike? I mean, well, and let me give it a little bit more context, right? Sheriff Lopez, I understand, is the sheriff of Osceola County and was just arrested in a racketeering scheme involving these internet casinos.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I saw the article, obviously piqued my interest, and I looked into it, and I saw, the sheriff, he I guess was running some alleged illegal gambling scheme because there's, and he got charged for racketeering apparently because, they're accusing him that he's using his position of power to, circumvent the investigation and whatnot. But, it's just a pretty crazy case.
Well, and I think it's hard for the average Floridian to kind of understand what is going on here. Like I remember back in probably 2007, and I could be off by a year or so, but these things started popping up.
Sure.
I was in high school. I had nothing to do after school. We started venturing into these places. I remember kind of the understanding. Now, it's been a long time since I've been in one of these establishments, but what I remember was you would go in, you would get a free phone card, right? You would put money on your phone card. You would walk up to the computer screen that just happens to look like a slot machine. You'd slide it in there, right? You'd put whatever amount of money from your phone card onto it, and then you would click away like it was a slot machine. I always thought to myself, like, this is kind of interesting. Feels like a casino, but why isn't this a casino, right? What is the difference? I mean, what is your understanding of the law that kind of differentiates that from going down to our wonderful Seminole Indian tribe casinos in Tampa or Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, that's a great question. On the one hand, they call them the internet sweepstakes cafes, right? That's kind of what their name was. There's a fine line between a legal sweepstake versus an illegal sweepstake. And they were flirting with that line.
Yeah, and to my understanding, like the interesting thing and why we keep seeing them pop up and come down almost like whack-a-mole, right, is because it really isn't a fine line, right? The law is vague, right? Like you can do these sweepstake casinos, but you just can't do them perpetually, right? I mean, that's kind of the thing. But what does perpetually mean? I mean, can you be open for 3 months? Is it 6 months? Is it 1 day? It's, I think, kind of interesting, right? Like,
oh, for sure.
So that's the loopholes, the temporal part of it. No.
Well, that was prior to the Florida legislature changing those laws, and I think they changed them in 2013, where they tightened up the statutes and specifically included in the statutes a temporal limitation. So,
okay,
the statute now says you can do these sweepstakes if it's for a limited period of time, if it's not for like a established business process.
Makes sense.
What the legislator wants to do is allow people to have sweepstakes and allow, businesses to promote themselves in a fun way using sweepstakes to gain customers and as an advertisement marketing kind of
Makes
ploy.
Sense.
What they don't want is businesses acting as casinos.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's why what was happening was under the old law, they figured out, well, if we put money on phone cards and it's not technically putting money into the machine, so we're complying with the letter of the statute, if not the spirit of it. And then the legislature said, okay, we're having too much of these pop up. We're going to change the legislation. We're going to change the statute, make it clearer that there's got to be a temporal limitation, and that's why the law got changed.
Makes sense. Mike, have you ever been to one of these places?
No, but I do remember growing up around that time and just seeing all these internet cafes, and I never really understood why. I was like, why are all these internet? Is there a big need, demand
Yes.
for that? But then I learned when I got a little older, little grayer, I started realizing kind of what was going on.
And have you noticed though? It's like the poorer the community or the area, right? The more internet casinos.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think I'm nearly positive about this. Correct me if you think I'm wrong, but I don't think slot machines by law, Las Vegas, Biloxi, wherever you go, right? There's a regulated payout on them, right? For every dollar that goes in, they have to pay out so many cents, right? Same with cruise ships right now. Like on a scratch-off ticket, right? You can see it on the back what the odds are of a payout, right?
Right.
To my knowledge, there is no limitation on a sweepstakes place, right? And just if you watch the way these things function, they're here and they're gone. They're here and they're gone. They take their machines, they move them somewhere else. They pop up, right? I can't imagine how low these payouts are on these things. I mean, it's really, truly, at the end of the day, you put them in poor communities, and you're taking advantage of people.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's probably why they're cracking down on them is the ability for them to break the game and to just take people's money that are unfortunately prone to access in those places and it's pretty sad.
But seriously, why the hell would you go to one of these places when just about anywhere in Florida you can take a 2-hour trip and hit the Hard Rock?
Well, a 2-hour trip for you and I, and that's nothing. But for some of these,
Put on the corner store.
But it's a lot easier if you can walk to the place, right? It's a lot easier if on the way home from work I can just stop off and spend my paycheck right
and
there.
I imagine the entry to play or whatever that you call it with the internet cafe is a lot lower than maybe going to a casino or something.
Yeah, and I remember when I was a kid. I say kid, 18 years old, right? The big bonus was if you walked in and you got your phone card, you got a free bag of chips and a drink. But it's interesting. We started right with the sheriff of Osceola County, right? It's amazing that somebody in this day and age could think in a position of power like that somehow they could get away with it. But I guess it comes with the territory.
Yeah, the actual sheriff, that's pretty crazy to me. And then I think they estimated or alleged that he has made like over $700K with this.
Well, and I think it's kind of interesting too because we can bring this back to Jacksonville. Like I remember the first generation of these casinos. The biggest kids on the block were a company called Allied Veterans. I remember I had one in my hometown of Mount Dora, right? From Eustis, but Mount Dora, Golden Triangle, right next door. And you could go there, and at any given time, there was probably 150 people packed in this old post office that had been converted into one of these Allied Veterans. And on the wall, you'd walk in, they had some kind of loose affiliation to some veterans, charitable groups and whatnot. But there's 300 computers packed in this place, and there's every form of, from human beings sitting over there, just banging away at the computer. But I remember there was a lawyer out of Jacksonville. I think you guys probably know the name of the guy. Yep. I mean, he was a very reputable, established lawyer here that ended up going to jail, I think, involving Allied Veterans.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Kelly Mathis.
Yeah, he got charged. Yeah, I remember.
And I remember hearing him speak after most of it was behind him and just being, really just, it was kind of shocking, right, as a lawyer, the idea that you could go to jail for giving somebody legal advice that is well-reasoned, well-sounded, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, somebody like Pam Bondi, think about her what you may, right? One thing I think that's not arguable about that, right, is she's trying to grab a headline, right? What's sexier than putting a lawyer in jail for giving legal advice?
Right. Well, she didn't phrase it that way. But according to Pam Bondi, the attorney was the head of a $300 million racketeering operation.
But it is pretty crazy if the only allegation is that he was giving legal advice as a lawyer to businesses on how to legally operate a business. That's
Right.
like it's like you have to double think about every single really as lawyers every single case that you take. Like
Yeah.
Take the casino out of it. It's crazy, right? If you just take the casino out and you just say, lawyer gave legal advice, it was well-sounded and well-reasoned, but so-and-so prosecutor didn't agree with it, right?
Right.
and
Send him to jail.
Or especially in this area at that time. At the time that Mr. Mathis was charged criminally for this, the law on sweepstakes casinos was in its infancy. Nothing was well settled. It was a matter of interpretation. He interpreted it one way, prosecutors interpreted it another, but he goes to jail for the way he interpreted it, which is a crazy thing for a lawyer to go to jail for.
100%. And I think what was very interesting, too, about, I think, the trial court ruling is that the trial court judge, I don't think, allowed him to present the evidence or the argument that the legal advice he gave was correct.
right, and that's why the
They took it at face value, right? There was an appeal, right?
Yeah, he appealed, and eventually, I believe he reversed, and then the prosecution decided not to, retry the case. So, essentially dropped the charges. But I think that is crazy. Obviously judges have to make tough calls, but that to show evidence that he was not doing anything illegal, I think is pretty huge in a criminal trial.
Absolutely.
Right. And from the lawyer's perspective, right, we have taken an oath. We have an obligation to uphold the law and to represent our client zealously. So on the one hand, that's exactly what he was doing. He was advocating for allied veterans' interest in giving them the advice that would allow them to operate. That juxtaposed with, well, somebody interprets the statute differently than he does, and now all of a sudden he goes to jail. I mean, it's hard to put those two together, right? Because how do you zealously advocate for your client, but a matter of misinterpretation, you get charged criminally? That's from the lawyer's perspective, that's outrageous.
And I think it's crazy too, right? Because, I mean, you guys both are heavily involved in motion practice, right? Interpreting statutes, interpreting case law, right? I mean, yes, you do have some of these lawyers, I would say, right, hey, it's bad faith, right? They know that's a crappy argument.
Sure.
They know that's, they know that's not the law, but they're twisting it one way, shape, or form, right? But like generally on every side of things, I mean, two people can make reasonable arguments. And come to a difference of opinion.
Happens a lot.
It happens all the time.
Watch
in
an
the practice
appeals
of law.
hearing. It sounds like everybody's right.
And I'm not sitting up here trying to defend him and whatnot, even though I think he was probably right. But I mean, how can somebody with a legal background like Pam Bondi come to that conclusion in a case like that? It just blows me away.
Well, I think the answer to that is because she wasn't wearing the hat of a lawyer at the time. She was the attorney general of political position, and it's sexy to have the headline of a lawyer charged as the head of a $300 million racketeering enterprise.
You see how well it served her.
Well, sure.
Definitely made some headlines.
Well, I say it sarcastically, but here we see her now as the Attorney General of the United States. Like there's like it or not.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
But take that for what it is.
And I guess I don't have a problem with the idea of regulating internet sweepstakes cafes. I think they should be regulated. I think that should happen, and there should be greater restrictions on when they can be open and what can be done. My only issue with this is the prosecuting of an attorney who is giving legal advice.
Well,
that's the craziest part.
Yeah, that's the crazy part. Is like you're half our jobs is consulting people, telling them how to do things legally.
Yeah, sure.
So somebody gets approached, thinks they're doing their job, and then next thing you know, wow, racketeering charges.
Yeah. What you mentioned regulating, right? Which is a whole nother interesting topic, right? Like, who is regulating, right? Because I'm reading an article here, and it's talking about a county in Central Florida that did at one point in time give permits to some of these sweepstake companies to be in operation, right? But it's still illegal under Florida law, right? So you have a county or a municipality, right, giving a permit for something like this, but it's still contradictory to Florida law. It's kind of interesting. Like it's one of those situations, and it kind of reminds me of marijuana, right? You know, you might have states where it's legal, state where it's legal recreationally, where it's legal medically, right? But you still, it's still illegal on a federal level, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the first thing I thought of when you were saying that is
Right.
that conflict there.
And it's always going to be like that because I feel like the legislature is always a little bit behind the folks on the front line, whether it's the business owners, whether it's the police, whether or not it's the municipalities that are dealing with it in their backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, you know, you don't address things until it's in your face.
I guess I'm just complaining to complain, but you know, it's interesting.
Federal
No, but
government
it
is
is
a
true.
little slow.
Yes, well, federal government, the state government as well. I mean,
Yeah.
they
Right.
both seem to lag.
Well, I mean, the battle between state rights and federal rights is a battle that's raged since this country's been born.
Now we could have a 2-hour discussion
We could.
on that, but
I don't want to go.
let's
I
try
don't
to
want to
keep-
go into that.
let's try to keep it somewhat on track.
But sure.
Now we're talking about illegal stuff. We're talking about a scumbag sheriff from Osceola County.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Let's move into one of Kirby's favorite state or congressmen, Cory Mills. Have you heard about this guy?
I've heard about this guy.
Some headlines there.
I mean, where do you start? Because the way I see it, right? I mean,
At the bottom.
I mean,
That's where it is now.
it's a legal podcast, and this guy cannot help but just toss up softballs for guys like this trying to put together a podcast on some, you know, politically or
Hey, look,
publicly
just
relevant
Google
stuff.
his name, hit news. It's
Yeah.
I know that
right there. That's Cory Mills. Just hit news, and there's going to be a bunch of headlines.
the latest story on this, guys, is that he was involved in a sextortion scheme.
Right.
And what's interesting is that Trump's wife, what's her name? Melania, right? She was pushing a bill, I think it was last year, early this year, right? That essentially banned revenge porn.
Correct.
Right? Do you know who was one of the co-signers of that bill?
This guy?
This guy,
I'm gonna guess
Cory
Mr.
Mills,
Mills.
right? So this guy's standing up there, and you can see there's pictures of him in the photo op, right, where he's standing behind them while they got the big pin out, and they're signing away, and he's smiling, and he's doing the little, you know, the little dolphin clap behind. Yet, text messages were just released last week showing that he was trying to extort a former girlfriend of his.
Not just any form of girl.
Not just, yes, what was she, a 2024 beauty queen?
Yeah, like
And-
Miss America or USA or
Yes,
something.
and she was a committee woman, I think, from his home district up there in Matt Gates' land in the Panhandle somewhere. But the gist behind it, right, is he's threatening her, don't date another guy or be with somebody else, or else I'm going to release these text messages of you doing sexual acts, right? And to all accounts, I mean, this girl's an angel. I mean, people love her. She's got a background. I think that's one of the reasons why he kind of preyed on her is, you know, he knew she had something to lose, right? But good for this girl coming out and kind of exposing this creep for who he is.
Absolutely.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
But
Allegedly.
there's a lot of smoke on this one, though.
Well, I mean, do you know anything about these? You know, because my understanding, right, is they got a restraining order last week was denied by I think it was the Okaloosa County. I think it was Okaloosa County Sheriff because there weren't any threats of violence behind it. I think that's what it was. But I mean,
No physical altercation occurred.
Right.
how does a guy like this get away with doing it, right? I mean, Mike, I mean, you do a little bit of criminal law, right? Do you know anything behind some of these laws that may be relevant here?
Yeah, well, it's definitely illegal to post sexually explicit videos of somebody on the internet without their consent. You know, the threat of it and all that. That's that's that revenge porn thing. So that's right there is pretty clear.
I mean, and tell me this: did he not commit the crime of extortion as soon as he sends that message and says, "You do this or you don't do this, or else I'm doing that"? I mean, isn't that a crime all in itself? Right there, take the sexual nature of it out, right?
Like obviously extortion, it's something I think you can use circumstantially against it. As a criminal defense guy, it's a little bit different putting my prosecutor hat on, but it's not a good look. I think there's definitely inklings of extortion or something like that. I don't know if that text alone is enough, on that, but it's not a good look. A lot of these things, like I said, he hasn't been formally convicted of any of them, but there's a lot of smoke where, smoke in these headlines here, and sometimes, where there's smoke, there's fire.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It's funny, one of the good friends of the podcast, Anthony Sabatini, longtime friend of mine.
Went to law school with him.
There you go, right? We all seem to know him in some way, shape, or form. Here we go, up on the screen. She provided text messages and Instagram messages between her and Mills to authorities, which also included his threatening to harm any men Lindsay intended to date in the future. Kind of taking a step back to what I was talking about a few minutes ago, if you're handling one of these cases where you're dealing with kind of a restraining order, right? Mm-hmm. And maybe, Mike, you can talk about it for the audience out there, what it takes to get a restraining order against somebody. He's threatening other men, these kind of hypothetical other men. Is that enough in your opinion?
Hypothetical, I don't think so, but some of the language in here I think can be used towards that, because he is threatening her directly too, yeah. I believe. So that's really where I think the substance of it is to get a restraining order. If he starts naming specific people, or your family members, stuff like that, I think you have a lot stronger argument. When unfortunately with the law, it's a little gray there. It's going to depend on how the evidence turns out, but the more vague you are, I think it's a little bit tougher to get a actual restraining order on it. But he's on that line.
It's a shame because they keep letting the guy off the hook, right? I don't think anything comes to this, but that's just my opinion. But I see, here, pull up Will in February. Oh, go ahead, Kirby.
The only thing I was going to add to that is this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, right? How the legislature is falling behind.
Yeah.
Right. I think the laws on the books are antiquated. It takes a long time to put new laws on the books. And I think with the advancements in technology, and certainly with the advancements of AI, this type of revenge porn, if you will, is going to become more prevalent in the near future. And I think that this is just one of many examples where women are held, basically at a proverbial gunpoint of you're either going to do what I say or I'm going to expose you to the world.
Yeah.
Which is horrendous. And if it's not a crime, I think it should be a crime. It's just a matter of getting the laws into the 21st century. That's my view on it.
Now, pull up on here. I think in February of this year, he beat up a girl that was supposedly also a living girlfriend of his, but this girl we've been talking about for the last few minutes, she was his Florida girlfriend. This is his Washington, D.C. girlfriend. Now, I'm just going to mention that he's still married, guys.
Oh, wow. So I didn't even know that part.
Yes.
So this is...
Now, depending on when you hear him speak about it, he's been separated for 3 years.
Right.
Who knows?
Right.
That's a whole nother thing. I mean...
If you didn't think he was a shithead already,
yeah, like I said, it's not a good look either way. That's why these things. But yeah, I heard about that too. That he allegedly either threatened or battered some female that was also a girlfriend, and then later nothing came of it. Like you said, he keeps kind of not ever getting convicted of these things, but it's just a lot of negative facts coming out.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with I think his last election, I think he won by 16%. That was the 24 election. I think in 22, I want to say he won by 21%. So you're dealing with a pretty safe Republican district. Mm-hmm. So there's no, and I hate to say it because it's really cynical, right? But there's no pressure on his side of the aisle to say, hey, you're a scumbag, get the hell out.
Right.
Right? Because the margin's narrowing, right?
Sounds like Anthony Sabatini is doing that.
Well, it could be. He did run against him in 2022.
But I think he's been calling him out, too, telling him to step down, and I think rightfully so.
As he should, but other people should be doing this as well, because I think what happened in the February incident, I think it was February.
Well, he's got it pulled up right here.
Okay. Here we go.
Right there.
Yep.
Right there.
Yep, February 20th.
Yeah, Rep. Mills is the legislator accused in the assault, but at this time, both he and the alleged victim, Sarah Raviani, are denying that any assault took place.
So what I understand is she calls the police. He's beaten up on her.
Yep.
Police get there. She's got blood, bruises, whatever, all over her face and body.
Right.
She tells the police Cory did this, et cetera, et cetera. She later recants. To my understanding, they still issued an arrest warrant, but it wasn't signed by the DA, kind of giving him a little bit of cover. It's a weird situation too.
I'll tell you this, as a criminal defense guy, with those type of allegations, it's pretty common you're going to get arrested either way. At least, even if the charges get dropped, like those allegations, if they're appearing to the place and she has, obvious injuries on her, like it's pretty rare that you don't get arrested.
Well, this was the rare case.
Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely some
the
funny facts there.
The thought that popped into my mind is, okay, so the alleged victim originally claimed that she was assaulted and then recanted her story. Why did she recant her story? And this goes back to the most current incident, right? What if he's got a video of her that he threatens to expose if she doesn't recant her story? Right? That's the problem with all of this. That's why that can't be.
So taking this one step deeper, and I don't know if I should do this or not because now we're getting kind of a little bit into conspiracy land, but not too far, right? Mm-hmm. Right now, this jackal's being evicted from his Washington, D.C. penthouse. I think publicly it says he pays like, I don't know, $25,000 a month. Something over $20,000 a month for. Yep. And he owes $85,000 on this penthouse. Now he also resides in a beach house down here in Florida. It's kind of interesting. I mean, what is the average salary for a congressman right now, Will?
Like $175,000.
It's something. It's something like that, right? I mean, you can do the math, right? Mm-hmm. Beach house. Let's just say on the conservative side, 10,000. You've got his penthouse in D.C. $174,000 a year is the average salary for a U.S. congressman, right? Those numbers don't add up, right? And now he's being evicted from his penthouse. And if you look at the Langston story, this is the sextortion story. She makes allegations that allegedly, on multiple occasions, Cory Mills is accepting bags of cash from people.
Oh, gosh.
Now, I was looking at a story here, and I'm going to pull it up. But since 2024, pull this up, Will. Since 2024, how many federal contracts has Cory Mills been awarded? It's a ridiculous number, right? And then you tie that in with her testimony, right, or her story, that he's accepting people would drop by the house and they'd hand him cash, or he went out to a restaurant with her and so from a company, right? 94 federal contracts to companies at least partially owned by Cory Mills since January 9th, 2024. What the heck are we doing here? Why? What? I mean,
a lot of bad looks.
And I know that there's an ongoing...
Coincidence. Yeah, just a coincidence.
Yeah. I know there's an ongoing House Ethics Committee investigation going on this, but I don't think it's necessarily gone anywhere yet. I know that it's ongoing. It's been ongoing for quite some time, but it seems like the writing on the wall is that it's catching up to him. It's just amazing
As
to me.
It should. Jesus criminy. How many times does this guy have to do something bad to get held accountable?
Yeah, I mean, what do you have to do? I mean, this guy literally beats up a woman.
Allegedly.
This guy allegedly concocts some kind of sextortion scheme. Mm-hmm. This guy allegedly has somehow worked it out where he's been awarded an absurd amount of federal contracts. And here's another interesting, just to throw it on top. I'm not sure if you guys read up on this or not, but so one of his big things when he was running for Congress is he's a Bronze Star Award winner, right? Mm-hmm. For his time in the military. Pull up what Cory Mills was awarded the Bronze Star for.
Oh, yeah.
You heard about this?
I've read this story.
I don't know this.
Okay, so one of them is he says that he provided life-saving first aid to a guy that was killed. Mm-hmm. Guy comes out and says, I wasn't, or not killed, was critically injured.
Wounded.
Guy comes out and says, no, I wasn't critically injured, right? I wasn't wounded. And him and the medic that were there say, I don't remember I don't remember him being there. He has another story where he allegedly, see if you can find it on there, Will, where he allegedly saved somebody from an armed insurgent. The guy he allegedly saved doesn't remember Cory Mills being there.
Right.
Nobody remembers Cory Mills being there.
Right.
I mean, this guy is like a certified, Will, With me, it's like you do something wrong once. Okay, yeah, I don't know what's going on. Maybe twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. How many chances do they give the guy? I mean, eventually he needs to be held accountable.
Yeah, it's crazy because he's a congressman. That's just where it's crazy.
Yeah,
Because anybody else in any other position probably wouldn't be where they're at.
and that's what I'm getting at. I mean, you made the comment a few minutes ago, right? That generally a cop shows up. This has happened, right? The guy's going to jail, right?
Mm-hmm.
Happens a lot
He didn't go to jail
for a lot less too.
for a lot less.
Yeah.
I'm just glad, I'm glad that people are pressing these things, and I think it's important to talk about because, I mean, at the end of the day, we don't need guys like this in government. Democrat, Republican, whatever. Red, white, blue, yellow. We don't need people like this.
I didn't think we are gonna have all these juicy topics on this.
He
this
didn't
morning,
save
but
my
this
life.
is-
Hey, you see this stuff here? He didn't save my life.
So between the stolen valor, allegedly beating up his ex-girlfriend, threatening to release, sextortion, as you put it,
That's what
and
they call them.
and now getting getting 93 government contracts, and he somehow still can't pay his rent.
Did he ever respond
mean,
to
it's-
this?
it's-
Like the allegation of it?
Oh, man.
Oh, he responds. He
I
says,
was there.
This is concocted by my political rivals.
Right,
It's
right.
just.
Oh, the guy he saved was a live.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. It's all a vast
yeah.
conspiracy by leftists and people that don't like me. Throw the heck out. This Mill was awarded the star after January 2021. 4 years later, 5 people who served with him, including 2 of the men that document says Mill saved in different incidents, say they have no recollection of Mills being at the incidents listed on the form. Yeah, that's pretty clear cut, right? One guy might be a liar, 2 guys maybe, but 5, I don't know. And then you throw on top of that everything else. To your point, Kirby.
I mean, look, when there's smoke, when there's this much smoke, there's got to be some fire, and I mean that's
Tough.
That's
It's
tough.
tough to come back.
Well,
That'd be tough to defend.
what's tough is that it's not the same bad thing over and over again. It's a number of different bad things in different areas, right?
Yeah.
With his relationships, the stolen valor problem, the financial deviancy of somehow being awarded 94 contracts and then stiffing the landlord because you somehow can't pay your bills, taking bags of cash. I mean, bad stuff in multiple different areas. At some point, it becomes a character problem.
And you got what's even funnier is when he's responding to the allegations of him being evicted, right? He's blaming it all on the landlord's payment system. Look, I have a text message here telling the landlord that the link didn't work, I've asked him, I even asked him this morning why the link doesn't work. And it's but you've been paying your rent for 2 years before that?
Right. Well, and it begs the question, if you can't figure out how rent payments work, why are you leading our country?
That's a very fair point.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, that excuse doesn't work for anybody, but you're a U.S. congressman. You're honestly going to say, I didn't pay because I couldn't figure out how to pay?
Especially
That's ridiculous.
I could just imagine him like, what's your Venmo?
Yeah.
No, and that's what he released. He releases
This
like
guy's
text
making
messages.
laws? What are we doing?
It's not like you don't have an office full of congressional aides.
It's like one of those bags of
Yeah.
cash.
Yes.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Yeah.
The alleged bags of cash.
All right. What else we got?
What do you guys want to talk about now? I mean, I think what would be helpful, right, is, there was a story I saw the other day about how a gentleman right here in Jacksonville was walking down the road. I think 74-year-old gentleman was struck by a vehicle, hit and run accident.
Right.
I think
yeah,
he
I heard about
died.
it.
He died, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty sad. I think I don't remember if it was his daughter or his wife, but they're obviously trying to look for who did this. It's really sad. I think it's something obviously we can relate to as plaintiffs, personal injury attorneys. We get a lot of people come to us, and sometimes the most tragic things, but unfortunately, hit and runs, not enough information where we can really do anything about it, and it's sad to see. So I think it's important, that much more important that people know things that they can do when something like this happens. I don't know if it was a daughter. Yeah, I don't know if she was okay. So it doesn't look like she was there during the accident, so that's tough. But if you are there during an accident and a hit and run, like unfortunately, sometimes you're injured, other things, but you also gotta, think about, the future. And I think it's important to find out if there's any cameras around. Are you able to take a picture of a license plate, something to track down who this person was that hit and run you? Because it's kind of you really have no other option sometimes if you can't find out who did it.
Well, and I'll bring this back to you in a second, Kirby, but it's interesting too, because we've all been practicing for a similar amount of time. The technology's catching up, right? I mean, you used to have these incidents and you'd be lucky, right? I mean, you could have the best investigators in the world, right?
Yep.
But now we've got, there's services we have access to, right? Where you have access to the FDOT cameras. You can pull these things. Helpful. Doesn't always work, but it's helpful, right? There's things now that are available that otherwise weren't, but you got to be proactive.
Yep.
I mean, that's the most important thing when it comes to a case like this. I mean, every day matters, right? Because these are not cameras that they save the data on for long periods of time.
Right.
Witnesses disappear. People's memories fade, But I remember, and I would like you to say a couple words on it, Kirby, but we had a case a couple of years ago now. I mean, it settled out. We had it for a while where we were able to obtain some footage from a nearby business.
Yeah.
That really, I mean, it was one of those cases where there was contested liability, right?
Yep.
This was that, there was a double yellow line, all this kind of stuff, right? But we were able to, through our diligent efforts, we're able to get the camera footage for the gas station next door, and it had the entire accident on camera.
It did.
Right? And it's powerful.
Yep.
I mean, you can put that visualization in front of a jury. It's powerful.
And you can see the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, if a picture's worth 1,000 words, a video's worth 1,000,000.
Well said.
Or a couple.
Yeah.
Well said. I mean,
Or
tell us.
in that case, a couple.
I mean, give us a little bit more of the details on the actual case. Like what was the situation with kind of the liability dispute, and what was the footage able to show, if you remember?
Well, let me zoom back a little bit, and I'll definitely get into that. First and foremost, what happened to this family is horrendous, and as personal injury lawyers, we often get a bad rap, or ambulance chasers or something like that. When our phone rings, if Miss Townsend were to call us, what she's looking for is answers.
Yeah.
And she's desperate for answers, right? The police have done what they can do. They can't locate this person. What else is she supposed to do? She's desperately seeking help. First thing that we would do is we would go out to where the incident happened. We'd look at every single house that's there. Do they have Ring doorbells?
Yep.
Right? That may have been
We've
captured
picked
on
up
the
footage
video.
on those before.
We have. To your point, get the FDOT cameras, right? I think they were ultimately able to identify the vehicle as a Jeep Grand Cherokee. Well, what you have to do now is go to the nearest FDOT cameras in that area and request that video be preserved, and every Jeep Grand Cherokee that goes through that intersection, we run the license plate on, and then by process of elimination, try to get answers, right? So, it's really important when an incident like this happens, to your point, to be proactive.
Yep.
And that makes all the difference.
Absolutely. And I know, too, if you can identify that vehicle that you think it is, people don't realize, but since I think it's 2004, most cars have computers in them.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can download the data
Yep.
off of these vehicles, right?
Yep.
And you can tell when certain things happened, right?
The black box.
Yes. So even if this person hurts somebody, kills somebody, whatever, right? You can identify that vehicle. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of the times there's evidence to corroborate that on the vehicle itself that most people don't even realize.
Right. It tells you the speed, impact, everything.
Yep. How fast the vehicle was going, whether they were turning or not, whether they were accelerating or decelerating at the time of the impact. I mean, it'll give you all of that information, which is, in our line of work, it's critically important.
Absolutely.
Going back to the case that you were referencing, we had a woman who was stopped in a turn lane, getting ready to turn left, and she gets rear-ended by a massive truck.
Well, it wasn't a turn lane, right?
It was what we call a suicide lane.
Yes.
Right? It's the lane where you can turn left if you're going this way, or you can turn left if you're coming the other way. Right? It's called a suicide lane. So she was in the suicide lane, getting ready to turn left. And as she was stopped there, she gets rear-ended, pushed into oncoming traffic, and then get hit again. And the defense was really kind of interesting in that case. The defense said that the driver of the semi-truck claimed that she slammed on the brakes and there was nothing he could have done to have avoided the accident. Well, the defense, we scoured the area. This incident happened near a gas station. And in the corner of one of the gas station pumps, there just happened to be a security camera. And in the corner of the security camera, you could see the accident happen, right? So if we hadn't gone down there, requested that video, got a copy of that video, it would have been the truck driver's word versus her word.
How fast did you get down there, by the way?
Oh, the key to preserving any of this evidence is to get down there as soon as possible because these videos will tape over themselves. I think in the instance of the gas station, the video would tape over itself every 14 days or 10 days or something like that.
So a lot of the time they're like 72 hours.
Well, and
exactly.
And I remember too, like the defense had tried to go down there and get it, but it was because our diligent efforts. We were the only ones that actually had that tape because we got down there.
That's right.
In a reasonable amount of time.
Which made for a real fun deposition after I got them to swear under oath what happened, and then I showed them the video of what actually happened.
Yeah. Speaking of
this just makes me laugh, right? I have a distinct memory of this guy's deposition. And I remember sitting there watching Kirby. He's taking the deposition. And this guy, he's sitting there in his car, right? And he's got his phone up like this, doing his deposition.
Yeah.
the work truck.
You know, when you're doing a deposition, you shouldn't have other people around you, right? Because, I mean, frankly, you can waive your attorney-client privilege. I mean,
they could coach you through it.
And there's
Don't
a
answer
host
that,
of
answer
things,
that, you know.
right? So
Yeah.
you're not supposed to. It's improper, right?
100%.
And we see him on the video, right? And you can see in the windows, right?
The trees are moving behind him. Right. Yeah.
So we say, Mr. Let's just call him Mr. Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez, are you driving right now? No, I'm not driving. I'm not driving. And we see the car actually slowing down, right? And we said, well, Mr. Hernandez, is there anybody else in the vehicle with you? And he takes the phone like this, and he just points it one way. No, there's not anybody in the car right here. And when he flashes it back this way, you see the shadow of somebody get out of the driver's seat and run around the vehicle. Yeah. And the guy, I mean, if I recall right, I mean, he stuck to that story.
He did. Oh, yeah, he died on that hill. And you could hear the door close, somebody get out, you can see him running around in the background. And so we go to mediation, and I play that clip, and then I take a still shot of the video that you can clearly see somebody running in the background. And, I mean, there was no argument. We basically caught him red-handed lying twice.
This is your credible witness.
Proof. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Yeah.
It was a great one. It was good.
The insurance company paid shortly thereafter.
Yes, they did. They did.
Hey, what's going on these days, guys? I'm an outsider now. So.
Well, you'll never be an outsider, Mike. Don't say that. But tell us about St. Augustine. I mean, that's
man, it's awesome. It's coming together, man. We're really liking the area. I think obviously I grew up in Jacksonville, so I've been familiar with St. Augustine. But I think being there every day and kind of being with the people there and seeing the local businesses, it's a really awesome spot. Like it's the oldest city in the country. But we've been getting a lot of positive reviews. Just people noticing that we're open. The building, we've I don't know if we mentioned it before, but we obviously have a brand new renovated building out there. It's right on US 1 and Old Dixie. So it stands out. It's pretty awesome to see. So it's exciting.
Well, I mean, St. Augustine holds a special place in my heart. That's where I went to undergrad at. I went to Flagler there, played baseball there.
That's right.
Loved the St. Augustine community. That was where I had my first house. It's where I met my wife. I mean, it's a special place. I'm glad that we're representing the folks of St. Johns County.
I think it's important to be there because, I mean, St. Augustine, it's growing. It's growing. St. Augustine's
100%.
growing. St. Johns County's growing. North St. Johns County, everywhere in St. Johns County is growing, right?
Oh yeah, it is booming. I remember, 10 years ago, you can go there and pretty easily travel, but it's constant travel. Traffic, like everywhere, just cars everywhere. Like I said, we've been getting a lot of traffic going through and noticing us coming by, saying hello. People, it's been great.
That's why it's important to have a lot of billboards down there.
Oh yeah, we
People are
definitely
stuck
got a
in
lot
traffic.
of those. Actually, I saw your big face on one on the way with the mustache. It looks good.
Thank you.
Well, that's one of our biggest cases came from there. It was the underride.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we should save that one for
We'll-
another
we'll
episode.
drop a little teaser.
We'll save
That case deserves its own episode. I mean,
We could talk for 2 hours about
We
that.
could. I mean, and it was egregious. I'm sorry.
But
I'm
anyway.
here. I'm baiting the conversation.
Yeah,
We'll save
sure.
that one. I'm going to write that one
Sure.
down for next time.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Underride, crappy company in St. Augustine. All right, dirty truck.
Yeah. Yes.
But you got trial next week.
Yeah, I got trial next week.
We
We're-
got trial next week.
Yeah,
Yes,
you're
both of you
gonna
guys.
be at the office.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, I think.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
So yeah, we got trial next week. It was supposed to go about a month ago.
Yep.
Actually, I think it was supposed to go 6 months before that, and then it got moved, and then moved again. But it's frustrating. But we're ready.
Without naming his name, I mean he's Stu Justice. I mean he's fought the fight. He's trusted us along the way, which you really can't ask for more in a client, right?
Nope.
When a client trusts you,
Yep.
he finds comfort in the counsel you're giving him, right? I mean, all cases are different, right? I mean, no set of facts is the same, right? And this is, I mean, it's a case I think that you guys are trying next week. I don't think a lot of firms would have done it, but I know personally, right? Like I truly believe in what he suffered, and I hope you guys can bring him justice. It's not an easy one.
Yeah, we do too, and I think obviously you had it from the beginning, really personal to you on this case, and the client is somebody that this is why we do it. It's not everything is so streamlined and easy to decide. Obviously, that's why there's trials, and so it is a privilege and an honor to be able to do that for people, and hopefully we can bring them justice, and hopefully the jury feels the same way.
I couldn't agree with you more. In St. Johns County, I mean, it's kind of notorious for being a tough jurisdiction. Juries can be a little tougher. I mean, generally speaking, if you're not involved in personal injury law out there, I mean, generally, the more a county leans red, a lot of times the more difficult it is to find a plaintiff-friendly jury.
It can be, but I think on the same token, they believe in what's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
they appreciate those people that kind of pick themselves up by their bootstraps and keep going.
Exactly.
And that's the beauty of jury trials,
Right.
is you get, the human element, and they're deciding these facts. And at the end of the day, I think left, right, whatever it is, people honestly want to try to do the right thing.
Yeah. And that's why it's kind of like it's our job to be able to present it in a way that's going to land with the most impact on the audience we have, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? The argument might be a little bit different. The analogy might be a little bit different, depending on kind of who's in the box, right? Mm-hmm. And as lawyers, you got to be quick. You got to be able to do it.
Well, at the end of the day, the 6 jurors are going to decide the case.
Absolutely.
Right. And us believing in our clients enough to tell their stories, that's step number 1. Step number 2 is getting the jury to believe in our clients' stories.
Absolutely.
And that's our job. So looking forward to doing that next week.
Absolutely. And I mean, not shifting gears too much here, but it's difficult these days with the insurance agencies, the insurance industry, kind of pushing this narrative down everyone's throats of, the trial lobby's so evil. It's the reason your rates are going up, and it's like, I just want to tell
The
people,
ambulance
like,
chase.
yeah. I want to tell people, it's like, the reason your rates might be going up is because your insurance company, they want to make another $1 billion next year, right?
Right.
Or maybe they wouldn't if they wouldn't have to pay all these defense lawyers if they just paid the claims in the first place, right? There are laws in place that would punish a unscrupulous plaintiff's attorney, right?
Of course.
Right.
What I mean?
Well, wasn't it when the tort reform passed, there was like some big announcement about the record-breaking profits and stuff?
Nobody wants to talk about that.
Right.
What's kind of interesting too is like you're pretty involved in the FJA. The FJA is actually, they're coming up next week to the office next Tuesday to have a meeting with us. It's important. I mean, because really, the laws that we litigate today, it's all started in the legislature.
Yep.
Right. I mean,
People like Cory Mills.
People like Cory Mills.
The future's
right?
in good hands.
I mean, that really brings it back, just how messed up things are.
It is. It does.
But it's like people, and honestly, it's like left or right, right? It's just a shame, right? Because a lot of people that are attracted to, I don't want to say public service, but political office at that level, they're a little off.
Yep.
You know, they're a little off. Not to get into it too much, right? They obviously like the spotlight. They don't mind. I don't want to call them psychopaths, but you know, they're a different breed.
Right. They have no. There's no conscientious pause when they say something that, you know, is purely beneficial to them. Yeah, it's hard to explain, right? It's like I could not. I don't know. I don't want to go there. Doesn't matter what I would do.
And that's why it's hard.
We'll go for another 2 hours.
You know, we could, but you're dealing with a legislature, right? And you're asking them to, you know, make some kind of reforms or protect some kind of law, right? And the nature of personal injury, right? Just the nature of it, right? It doesn't happen to people very often, but it's the worst thing that happens to them when it does, right?
Oftentimes.
You know what I mean? But like plenty of people can go through their whole life without ever having a tragic situation happen. Yeah. But you know, when it happens though, it can be the worst thing. But you're talking to a bunch of people where it hasn't happened to them, you know, and you're asking them to do things that to them feel opaque and, you know, why this didn't happen to normal people?
Right.
Yeah, this wouldn't happen to me, or why should I care, right? That's the difficult part, I think, of not really lobbying, but trying to advance the citizenry's interest in the Florida legislature.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe we can...
Well, and we're going up against a machine that is specifically campaigned and smearing us as greedy ambulance chasers, you know, self-centered,
Raising
whatever.
all the rates.
Yeah, rate raisers instead of... I mean, what's ironic about the whole thing is that if you zoom out far enough, honestly, the only reason that personal injury lawyers or any lawyers that represent the public generally, the only reason we exist is because insurance companies don't do what they were supposed to do in the first place.
100%.
If insurance companies always paid the claims that they needed to pay, we wouldn't have jobs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they don't.
Absolutely.
Right? So that's why we exist.
Because frivolous claims get dismissed, and if you bring a frivolous
claim...
As they should. But if you bring a frivolous claim, there are consequences.
As there should be.
There are sanctions against clients. There are sanctions against lawyers. People don't understand that. They want to talk about frivolous lawsuits. The judge didn't find it frivolous. The jury didn't find it frivolous. So you're just going to sit here and grandstand, oh, it's a frivolous lawsuit. It's the most unintellectual way of arguing, right? I mean, you just don't know what the heck you're talking about.
Right.
But they sit there all day long and push this stuff down people's throats.
Yep.
Yeah, and the sad part is the public doesn't get to see really what the insurance companies do.
No.
They don't see that. You know, how many times do we get offers that they don't even cover the person's medical bills?
Right.
You know.
Right. Well, think about the example that I gave you earlier, where their driver says, "Oh, she slammed on the brakes." Well, the video that we got from the gas station showed that she had been stopped there for 20 seconds before the incident happened. She didn't slam on her brakes. She was stopped there with her blinker on.
Yeah, you lied.
Yeah.
Yeah, he lied, and he got caught. And he lost the case, as you should be.
Yes.
Same is true for the plaintiffs. If the plaintiffs lie, they should lose the case. But the mechanism is already there.
But you know, it's the difficult part, right? The insurance companies, they have boatloads of money, right? They run these commercials, right? They're cute.
Sure.
Right? They might have Aaron Rodgers in there.
Right.
You know, or
Jake from State Farm.
Jake, yes. You know, and it's, we're just good people. We're your neighbor.
Right.
You know, we're just here. We got our arms around you. We wanna help you.
Right.
Bullshit.
Yeah, no.
You know?
They're out to make a profit.
Well, like I always say, they're real easy about taking that premium payment, but when you ask to make the claim or get the payout, it's very slow.
Yeah,
Well, it's simple math, right? You don't have to have an economics major to understand how the insurance industry works. You take in as much in premiums as possible, and you pay out as little in claims as possible.
Yeah, this could be an episode for another day because you could talk about it forever. But most people don't realize that insurance companies are essentially investment banks, right?
Yeah, of course.
They take your premiums.
Yep.
They try to hold as much in reserves as possible. So there's actually an incentive for them not to pay out claims because if they keep that money, if they hold on to that money, they have that money to invest.
Yep.
And that's what they do.
Right.
They take your premiums and they invest the money. And really, most of the money they make are off of the return that they're getting on the premiums. right? It's great. It's a crazy business model. And 99.9% of people have no idea that's how they make their money.
Yeah.
And the shell companies that they use through essentially contractor agreements, right? You've got Allstate Insurance Company, right? But their executives are paid through the shell company, right? And then they siphon the money off and are able to make it look like Allstate, whoever, right, had a loss that year.
Right.
Because of just the way that they do their corporate structure.
Right.
And
Accounting
And when you
practices.
have guys like Jimmy Patronis, who was the prior financial officer, CFO for the state of Florida, that what's the word? You know, they put this crap out there. People eat it up, and they eat it up along party lines, and I hate to see it, you know.
Yeah.
But
Well, hopefully they're not listeing to this, because then our premiums probably going to all go up
that's
next
all
year.
right.
let them go up. I'll sue them.
Pam Bondi here, she'll probably throw us in jail.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't give any more
Allegedly.
legal advice.
Yeah, allegedly.
Pam, why don't you find the Epstein files?
Yeah.
All right, let's put a pin in it.
Let's,
before we go
it's,
down.
time, it's time to wrap it up, boys. It's time to wrap it up.
Allegedly.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I appreciate y'all listening today. Hopefully next week we got something to report about the trial. You know, it's going to be fun. The idea, right, is we have good conversation. We keep you up to date on the things we're doing. And when things that are fun, sexy, whatever, we talk about them. We have fun with them, right? So until next week, we'll see you later.
See you guys.